History repeats itself. It fails to die. You are now tuned into But What Is Life podcast, the ride to relax, relate, and release into reality where things get fun, real, and the advice is unsolicited. It's Ani here again for another episode 2 for But What Is Life podcast. And today's topic is purpose. What is your purpose? Now, I just want to let y'all know that this episode was inspired by the new movie Soul on Disney Plus. First of all, let me just say this. I saw the movie yesterday for the first time, and I had been meaning to watch it when it came out on Christmas, but I just didn't get around to it. I was like, I'm gonna watch it. And I was talking to my best friend yesterday, and she was telling me about it. And I was like, I'm about to watch it. And then she was like, okay, so tell me what you think after. Secondly, let me say this. When I say that movie really was about to make me cry because it was so much confirmation for where the hell I am today. First of all, it was an animated movie. That's the first thing. But for me, I feel like it's going to go over these kids' heads. So that brings me to my second point. That movie was not for kids. That movie is for adults. But a fun way that I kind of looked at it, like as far as it being an animated movie, but the meaning of that whole movie is so profound and deep. I feel like that movie really speaks to like us as adults and our inner child to really like inspire and motivate us to get out here and do whatever it is that we want to do in life. Like create your reality, baby. I don't know, that's just my perception. But there was one quote from the movie, and it was towards the end where it really just spoke to me, and I was like, wow, you are kidding my life. Like that is my hands down all-time favorite animated movie. I'm a type of person where, honey, I'll do animation for real. Like, I mean, if it's good, I'll watch it, especially like watching it with my son or whatever. But for the most part, I was never that person, even when I was a kid, that was really like into cartoons. But one thing that I will say with that animated movie, the animation is not like the old school cartoon look. It looked like the animation is there, but it looks real. That's the kind of animation that I can get into. So that is my all-time favorite animated movie at this point on today. Before I say the quote, basically, I don't want to tell the movie, so I'm just going to tell one specific part that plays off of the quote that I'm about to tell y'all. It's basically like it shows you like the different realms of life. Like before you get to Earth, while you're on Earth, after Earth, the afterlife, and all of that kind of stuff. So before you can actually go through the Earth's portal to get to Earth to be born as a baby in, the reality of the world as we know it. On the movie, you have to get there's like 5 or 6 like different things that you have to like have before you can go through the Earth's portal. And one of them is like personality, and then some other stuff. But the last thing that you have to get is your spark. And basically your spark is like what like what you're good at or what you're going to do in life kind of thing. That's kind of like what it relates to. So the quote says, "A spark isn't a soul's purpose. Your purpose is your meanings of life." First of all, let me just say, I was blown the fuck away, baby. Blown away. Because I was sitting there, especially because like I said, that was towards the end of the movie. So after watching the whole first half and then hearing that quote, I was like, you know what? They own to something with that, because when you think about it, just think about people as far as when they say they trying to find themselves and this, that, and the third, and trying to find like their purpose in life. It's like that thing that they're really good at or passionate about and stuff like that. But basically what the man was saying was, your purpose is not your spark. Your purpose is what you decide what life means to you. So whatever life means to you, that becomes your purpose in life that you have to fulfill. So basically, it's like live every day to the fullest and do what makes your soul happy based off of what life means to you. And let me just say this, the simple fact that this is the second episode, I really feel like it should have been the first, because this plays on the actual title of my podcast, like, but what is life? And it's like, of course you can ask that question, you know, from various different points of life. But with this episode, number 2, so early in the game, like my inspiration for this episode and how it ties into the title of my podcast, like, first of all, that's just confirmation in itself. Manifesting, baby. Let's do this. Yes. I feel so good. So, we're going to talk about that today. Because take what I said, like my inspiration from the movie, the quote and all of that. Take that, put it to the side. What would you honestly say your definition of purpose in life is? Everybody can have their own, you know, idea of what purpose could be, or, you know, what life is and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's all gonna come full circle one way or another, because I mean, everything just does. And like I was saying in the first episode, I was talking about authentically operating within who you are and all of that. And it's so crazy because this episode was not pre-planned at all. Like I said, I just watched the movie yesterday. What's today? Today is January 7th. So I watched the movie January 6th. And the fact that this is like a perfect segue after last week's episode, first of all, baby, if that ain't confirmation to y'all listening, baby, I don't know what is. It's just so crazy. Like, life is all about manifesting and creating what it is that you see and want for yourself. And I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine last week, and we were talking about, you know, just like what we see things as in our lives for us, and as far as when it comes to like being spiritual, God is really working through me. Like, I feel this shit, okay? I feel it. And when I say he never ceased to amaze your girl, because he always doing his thing. Always doing his thing. I just love how this just is like the perfect segue from last week's episode. Like, that's just everything. But anyway, moving on. Like, I was saying that, as far as like my purpose, I was thinking about going back to school for like psychology and stuff like that. But after hearing that quote yesterday on the movie and like really just pondering on that for a second and really thinking about it, it's like, honey, no. It's something that you're passionate about. It's not just that one particular thing per se that is my purpose, but it's a piece of the puzzle that makes up my purpose. And you know how you always just have, you always have goals for yourself. And once you obtain that goal, it's like you're not satisfied and then you're searching for more. I have come to the realization that it's not about achieving the goals that you want to achieve. It's all about the journey to achieving that goal that is the reward in it all. And I just feel like that resonates with this quote. Like, there's going to be many things that you want to do in this life. You can always be passionate about something, and then as you grow and, different things about you change, like those passions can change too. So I feel like that quote really does make sense. It's not just one particular thing that you like, your spark. It doesn't have to be one thing that you're just good at that just makes up your entire life. And if you watch the movie, it will make more sense as to what I'm saying, because I don't really want to tell the movie, but I am going to say this. Okay, the guy, he was, into music. He wanted to be a musician, and his thing was, that's what I'm put on this earth to do, is play music. But throughout the journey of what happened in the movie, he realizes like that's just part of it. Like, that's not all. And this, like I said, this podcast is all about relaxing, relating, and releasing into reality of what our lives are. And I just want this podcast. Oh, why do I keep saying podcast, bitch? It's an episode of the fucking podcast. I guess the podcast as a whole. I want my listeners, whoever is out there listening to this, to really take something from every episode and it not just be, she was saying some real shit, but whatever. No, I really want people to listen to my podcast and really take something from it, like have a different perspective on the way that they look at certain situations, or hell, the way you look at, life as you know it. Like, change that shit up. Like, if you feel like you've been trying to achieve this one goal and it's like it's so hard to get there, and it seems like it's just always something in the way, baby, you can focus on more than one thing. Life is not all about just achieving that one goal and to say that you were successful at that one thing. That's not what life is about. And to be honest, I'm really ministering to myself, because about a year ago, I was dibbling and dabbling in some things, because it was just brought to my attention. It was the whole Forex and all of that stuff, right? And I was doing that, and I'm going to honestly say it was not something that I was passionate about, or like, and even after I started learning a little bit about it, it was intriguing and interesting just to kind of figure out like how it really works. But within all of that, it was just like, okay, this is not for me. And plus, it was like, there's other things that I actually had on my list that I wanted to do. And it was like, well, you always putting your eggs in all these different new baskets, but it's like, you ain't even try to tackle the things that you already had on your goddamn plate, sis. Like, what are you doing? So I had told myself, like, you know what? I'm going to stop trying to multitask, because let me just say this. Let me rephrase that. I was not a person that could multitask. It just wasn't in the cards for me. When God was pouring my cup, I don't know about that. We're going to put a little bit in there, but I don't know about that. Because baby girl be getting, when I'm focused on one thing, it's like, let me finish this and then I can move on to the next. Like, if I just got too much going on, your girl be getting, she'll get overwhelmed, and then it's like, okay, now I'm intimidated. I want to quit. So I was like, listen, I'm just going to focus on one thing and check everything off as I go. And stop trying to do everything all at once. It's not about how much you can do simultaneously. Like, just do what you can. Now that I think about that, it's like, no, sis, you were settling for less. You can do whatever it is that you want to do. And I had to tell myself, okay, well, yeah, that may have been one thing that I wasn't necessarily really into, and it wasn't something where it was just like, oh yeah, I can see myself doing this long term. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I can find things that I am passionate about, and now bringing it back full circle, I can, fulfill my purpose in life with the things that are meaningful to me, to create my reality and live out my life's purpose. So, that's what I'm doing now, even though, I actually kind of started doing that before I actually saw this movie. And I don't know, that's why I'm saying now it was so much confirmation, because I really got to the point where, nah, sis, get it together. Like, you can do more than one thing. You just have to plan it all out, write it down, and just get it done. Just do a little at a time until you keep chipping away at whatever it is that you're trying to achieve until you get to the top. And baby, then you're going to be moving on to the next goal list. So, like I was saying in my last episode, just looking at my vision board, it was like all the dots were connected, and wow, it's going to work. And this is really just confirmation, like, sis, you're on the right path. So I want whoever is out there listening to this episode today, if you feel like something just ain't working for you, go out there and try to find something else. You ain't necessarily got to stick to that. And who cares if you told everybody you was going to do this, and they still just sitting here waiting. Well, so-and-so said they was going to do this. Fuck everybody else. Everybody else ain't got nothing to do with the path that you are walking in your life. Don't nobody got nothing to do with that but you, God, and the universe. And that's on period. Okay? Another thing. Stop trying to go after stuff just because you see somebody else doing it and you see that they're successful at it. Just because they successful at it don't mean that you're going to be successful at it. Like, I really had to tell myself that with that whole Forex thing. I'm pretty sure if I really put my mind to it, I probably could have done it. But my friend who brought it to me, like, when I say she hit the ground running and she was moving. As a matter of fact, we will have her on a later episode. But my girl Britt, I'm proud of her. She's wearing many different hats and she's doing her damn thing. And I just had to tell myself, that's just not for you, sis. Go find what's for you. You tried it. Overall, I just did not like it. It was not for me. It was like, no, this is boring. Boring as fuck. And honey, let me tell you, after 3 months, bitch, I'm ready to go. Okay? Like, I don't have time for this. I need to be doing something that really fulfills me and makes me happy and at peace every day. Baby, that ain't it. It ain't it. You know how they always say, a man shouldn't be the puzzle piece to complete you. You should already be complete before you meet said man. Same thing with this, baby. Find your puzzle pieces so you can put them all together and look at your purpose and reflect on that. Because I don't want y'all to be out here just living life from pillar to post, and then you get to 60 years of age and you sitting here like, but what the fuck did I do with my life? Make that shit meaningful. Meaningful in your words. Now, you can take advice, but you can implement that in your life how you see fit. You don't necessarily have to do what they say. Like I said in the first episode, I'm not trying to keep y'all here listening for too long. Until the next episode, relax, relate, and release into your purpose.